Hello everyone, this is Andrew from Crown Academy of English. Today's lesson is about polite requests and questions. So, a request is when we ask someone for something. And since we are asking for help, it is important to be polite. Okay, we must be polite when making a request. And therefore, we must avoid being too direct. So, the language that we use must not be direct when we are asking for something, when we are making a request. Here are some examples of being too direct. I want help. Pass me the salt. Can you carry my bags? Okay, so these are all correct, but they are too direct. This type of language and structure, it is too direct for making a request. So these are not polite requests, and people will be offended. So if you say to someone, pass me the salt, then okay, they will understand you, they will probably give you the salt, but they won't like it. It's not polite, it's rude, and they will be offended. And even if we add the word please, it is still too direct. So if I say, pass me the salt please, it's still not polite. Okay? So, in this lesson, you will learn several methods to make a polite request. So I will teach you how to use better language to make a polite request. The first structure is could you? And the form is could you, then the base form of the verb, and then the rest of the question. Example, could you carry my bags? And of course, so this is polite, and we can make it even politer if we add the word please. Could you carry my bags, please? But even without the word please, it is still polite. Could you give me some advice? Could you carry these boxes? And we can add the word possibly to be even more polite. Let's look at an example. Could you possibly hold my drink? Could you possibly hold my drink? So we add the word possibly after could you and before the base form of the verb. So possibly would go here. Okay, so it just makes it even more polite. So could you is a very good way of requesting something, of asking for help. Would you mind? Would you mind followed by the ing form of the verb, and then the rest of the question. Example, would you mind carrying my bags? Would you mind carrying my bags? So we're asking someone to help carry my bags. Would you mind means would it be a problem for you? Okay? So it's very polite. Would you mind giving me some advice? Would you mind giving me some advice? Notice that we are using the ing form of the verb. This is not the base form, this is the ing form. Carrying, giving. Would you mind helping me? Would you mind taking my photograph? Okay, so this is very useful expression and it's very polite. would you mind followed by the ing form of the verb. Notice here that we say giving me some advice, and advice is singular, but we say some. So why is that? Why don't we say some advices? Well, the answer is, in English, advice is an uncountable noun. Okay, so it's not like some other European languages. In English, advice is uncountable. So it is always singular. We never say advices. And I have another video which explains uncountable and countable nouns. And I will give you a link to that video at the end of this lesson. I wonder if you could. I wonder if you could, followed by the base form of the verb, and then the rest of the question. Example. I wonder if you could mind my bag. I wonder if you could mind my bag. To mind something, it means to keep something and to protect it and to take care of it. Okay? I wonder if you could give me some advice. I wonder if you could give me some advice. Notice that when we are saying I wonder if you could, it's really very indirect, so it's very polite. I wonder if you could help me. And again, for this structure, we can add the word possibly to be even more polite. I wonder if you could possibly take me to the airport. I wonder if you could possibly take me to the airport. So we add the word possibly after I wonder if you could and before the base form of the verb. So it goes here. Okay, so it just makes it slightly more polite. Negative statements with question tags. You couldn't, followed by the base form of the verb, the rest of the question, and then we say could you at the end, which is a question tag. This is the question tag. And this part is the negative statement. Example. You couldn't help me, could you? You couldn't help me, could you? Notice that at the end, when we say the question tag, we raise our voice. The voice rises slightly to indicate that it is a question, because this part is a statement, but this part is the question. So we raise our voice at the end, only slightly. If you listen, you couldn't help me, could you? You couldn't help me, could you? And when we write it, there is a comma here, which indicates a pause when we say it. So when we say it, there is a slight pause between me and could you. You couldn't help me, could you? We can also say you wouldn't, plus the base form of the verb, plus would you. Example. You wouldn't take me to the airport, would you? You wouldn't take me to the airport, would you? Again, we raise the voice, and there is a pause, a slight pause. And this is a good one. I don't suppose you could, followed by the base form of the verb, followed by the question tag. Could you? Example. I don't suppose you could clean the bathroom, could you? I don't suppose you could clean the bathroom, could you? So If we want to ask someone to clean the bathroom, and we want to ask them very politely in a very indirect way without being aggressive, then we can say this: I don't suppose you could clean the bathroom, could you? Okay? Now let's look at a polite request in written English, because all the other examples, they were mostly for spoken English. This is a structure for when we are writing. So here is a good expression for formal emails and letters. I would be grateful if you could, followed by the base form of the verb, and then the rest of the sentence. Example: I would be grateful if you could send me your price list. I would be grateful if you could send me your price list. So this is something that we could write in an email to a company, for example. It's a very polite way of asking them to send us their price list. It is better, for example, if we write, send me your price list, please. The company will understand that, but it does not look professional. It's too aggressive. It's too direct. Okay? And for this structure, we can add the word most to be even more polite. I would be most grateful if you could send me the reports. I would be most grateful if you could send me the reports. So as you can see, we write the word most between the word be and grateful. Okay? Notice the grammar here. Notice that these are not questions. They're actually statements. We are saying, I would be thankful if you could do something. It's almost like a conditional. It's if you could send me something, then I would be grateful. And grateful means that I appreciate it. I would be happy. I would be pleased. So it's almost like a conditional. And so they are not actually questions. It is a request, but the actual, the grammar is, it is a statement. Therefore, we do not write a question mark at the end. Notice here that there is just a full stop or a period. There is no question mark. So that's just something to be careful, because these are written requests. So it's important not to write the question mark at the end. Okay? So there we are. That's the end. Hope you enjoyed it. And here are some other videos which you might be interested in.